in the first 75, I smoked him bad. You're in big trouble, son. I'm just going to sit back here and taunt you. In the end, speed takes care of everything. They finally did what they could have done 10 times this year. He's faster than everybody, and that in itself is aggravating. Dumbest ass racing that I ever did in my life. Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by NASCAR on Fox. I'm Kevin Harvick. She's Kaitlyn Vincie. And our one and only,
back on the board. We're back on the board, baby.
Oh, my.
We rolled the Dente all the way to a P2 finish. Let's go.
Look at that shirt. Nice.
I know. Pretty
Repping
good.
the Carson Hocevar gear today.
Yeah.
But Kevin brought you some different gear.
Yeah,
right?
so over the weekend, I got a text with this shirt from Unk.
That's like the mid-90s Spears Manufacturing
That's cool.
team shirt.
Yeah.
That changed drivers, but the designs and everything never changed.
So
it was always that was the Spears t-shirt.
I love that.
Cool.
It was always one of my favorite paint schemes. Actually, last year when I ran a Cars Tour Pro Late Model race, I did a throwback to that scheme on the late model. So
when you wearing that shirt?
Probably when Keelan beats Kevin here soon.
Oh,
again.
he said you got to wear the back and the front.
No, he said I had to do the show backwards.
Yeah.
Or
He
yeah.
said the back of the shirt needed to be at the front of the
Right,
shirt.
because
And
it
I
has
said,
all the
well,
branding.
you just need to
Just
sit
turn
backwards the whole show.
Yeah, you have to be looking at the back of my
go.
head this whole time.
I mean,
Nice.
you're just a talking head anyway.
Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty
That's
chill.
all we do in TV,
So
right?
whether they can see your mouth moving or not doesn't
Doesn't
really matter.
matter. You got my voice. Yeah.
How you feel? You were in Nashville, obviously. You were in California. I was in Brazil. We're all here, and we're all
World
chipper.
travelers.
We are
this week.
Yeah, we're all chipper. I'm a little tired. The boys, the Beast brand, they had me come out and we did the Beast take over Broadway. So they shut
Nice.
down Broadway. The Concrete Cowboys, they're a motorcycle group that do stunts and burnouts and jump these Harleys, and like it was insane. So me and Joe Comedy were the MCs.
Joe Comedy?
Joe Comedy.
Is he funny?
He is funny. He's a riot. Yeah, we had a good time.
That's
The
his
name.
stage name?
That's his name. That's the
Stage
stage name, Joe
name.
Comedy. Me and him we were riffing. It was a great time. I had fun. Nashville was
Nice.
insane. So how's
Good.
Brazil, KV?
It was good. I loved the culture over there. Obviously,
Food's
I had
good?
never been. The food was great. The wedding was really neat. It was the first bilingual wedding I've
Did
ever
you
been
leave
to.
the hotel?
We did. Yeah,
Okay.
the wedding was actually an hour away from Brasilia, so it was much more rural part of
told
the
you it was
country.
Cool.
No crazy people.
No, it really
Just
wasn't.
safe.
Yeah, I did.
And you
feel
made it
safe.
back.
I made it, but you know what didn't make it back?
What?
Here's a fun fact for anyone listening: if you travel internationally and you check a bag, and you connect in the U.S., you got to
have
go
to
get
go
that
get it.
bag.
you
I
didn't
learned
know.
that the first
I
time I went
learned-
to Italy. Yeah, I learned
I
that the
did
first
not
time.
learn that.
Like, what the hell? Lost first trip, all our bags didn't show up, and the people are like, "You get your bag?" I'm like, "No."
No,
Well, you
me
got to go
neither.
get your bag
Gotta
and
go get your
recheck it.
bag. Yeah.
I did not know this, and customs took forever to get through. So I was already rushing because you have to go through security
Yeah.
again. But I have to go to the airport after this and go get my bag.
Yeah.
You guys are listen. That's why
You're Mr. International.
executive platinum on American
Ooh,
Airlines.
executive platinum.
You know,
I only did it once.
I got global reentry, so I don't have to worry about that. Mr. Smith, yep, come on.
Oh,
through.
you have your
Thank
own line,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
VIP
but-
line. That goes
I had that too.
Yeah, you need it. You need
Yeah,
it. You're
but I
done
did
with
not
it.
get my bag the first time.
Silly,
Yeah,
silly rabbit.
you should have reminded me because now I got to go deal
should've.
with this.
I was a little nervous about your travels, making sure you made it back okay.
I
Kev,
am here though.
we're about to talk. I'm excited to talk about this race.
Yes,
race?
what
The one out
you
in
were doing
Bakersfield.
all weekend.
That you were out doing all weekend.
I did.
Yeah, the one that you didn't win. I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, Mr. Technicality, it was twins, so I actually did win the first one. But I didn't win
But you
the
didn't win
I didn't win the main
The
event.
main event.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun and ultimately did not win the main event.
Okay. We'll talk about the real winner.
Yeah. But we had a great week. We went to Bakersfield this week and had our first Harvick Showdown event at Kern Raceway there in Bakersfield, California. So to be able to race against Keelan for the first time and ultimately do that in my hometown was a lot of fun. And the thing for me is it re-engages those hardcore fans. We had people from 21 states show up to the event and had a great crowd, even though it was 105 degrees in Bakersfield. It's a dry heat, though. Don't worry. Don't let that number get in the way. It's a dry heat.
It's fine.
I'll race in 105 in California anytime compared to 95 middle of summer high humidity in the South.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you're being serious?
Oh, 100% I'm being serious.
Tyler, our producer, just said it was extremely hot.
He said he was dying.
Yeah, you didn't. Now, look, I would go from the shade to the car to the hauler and stay in the shade. If you were standing on the asphalt, it felt like 140. It was hot.
Okay, so then it's the same. So you were being pampered.
I'm talking about in the car. No, I'm just managing myself. We had a couple of these big air conditioning units delivered to put outside of the. You have to be prepared.
Fair.
You got to be in front of it.
Your son said on that video you did for NASCAR, you were in booth shape, giving you a hard time about this.
I've learned that I'm not in bad shape.
I'm sure you're not. Yeah.
Even though I'm not in great shape, I learned quickly I'm not in bad shape. So it was definitely hot inside the cars, and as it got night though, it was fine. So yeah, the shape part I was more worried about it from a Cup driver perspective than I was a late model perspective, and in the late model I was perfectly fine. So had a good weekend inside the car. Keelan got the pole. I won the first half and was racing for the win in the second half.
You see how he sets this whole thing up?
And got turned around. Nothing on purpose, but ultimately it looked like it might have been on purpose. But if you pay attention closely, this was the pass. This was the three of us racing for the lead. This is like 5 to go, and I took the lead as the two of them got tangled up. But the three of us raced like crazy at the end. Little right rear contact right there, and then Jake decides to drive it in and give it a whirl, and bottoms out and gets loose and wipes the three of us out. And fourth place spun out, and here comes the little man cruising right through the wreck. And Keelan wound up with the lead right there and wound up going on to win the race. So that's the way it goes.
We have Keelan on the show this week.
The Tide, yeah, he's going to come on and we're going to do the interview together this week for Thursday.
Excited about that.
That'll be fun.
In a minute.
We had a great week.
Yeah, it's an awesome moment for the Harvick family, right? I mean, just the whole thing.
To be on the racetrack while it's not his first late model win, but it's the first in this class, the pro late model class, which is
in your hometown.
In my hometown, everybody there is there to watch you race and to be competitive. And he qualified on the pole and wind up winning the main portion of the race right there was. I don't know that anybody really expected that, but the way that it worked out, you never know. You just have to keep yourself rolling in contention. And as I tell him, in order to finish first, you must first finish. So take them however you can get them.
Yeah, well, he took it because on this restart, he actually lost the lead and then had to battle back. And the move that he put on, we brought this. So this move right here, where he kind of clears himself in between two cars and just gives a little nudge. That is such a textbook move. I'm so impressed. We were texting about it. Like his racecraft for how young he is and how green he really is. I'm really impressed by that.
Yeah. And the unique part about everything that's happening right now, being in the car, and on test days, you have data on the car that you can look at the throttle traces, the steering, the brakes, everything to go along with that. Now it's a whole different level of conversation. Being in the same car, at the same track, at the same race, you can see the differences in the two driving styles. And everything that he's done up until this point previously have been really short races, right? So you're talking 25, maybe 40 lap races here and there, but mostly 20, 25 lap races.
This is 150?
This was 150 laps.
Yeah, okay.
Now he's been running a few of the pro late model races, so the races have been 100 laps. But when you stop and you look at the things that he now needs to learn are tire management. Every lap's not a qualifying lap. That's the way it's been up until this point, right? You go as fast as you can go. You don't worry about blowing the tires off the car. Getting the handling of the car right for what you think it needs to be in the race compared to what you need it to be to go fast, two different things. So getting him to understand that he has to sacrifice a little bit of speed in the car to make it drive good are good lessons like we learned this weekend, because the car, you got to have a versatile car.
Yeah.
Being able to move around, use the tools in your toolbox from a driver standpoint to change your line, change how you're using the throttle and brake. Those are the things that we're talking through now, because in the first 20 or in the first 75, I smoked him bad because he finished second, but he was used up at lap 25.
Yeah.
And we still had 50 to go. So at lap 25, his car was smoked, and old guy back there was just sitting there riding around.
Old guy.
Yep. Yep. You're in big trouble, son. And I'm just going to sit back here and taunt you for about 20 laps. And then I'm going to drive around you like you're tied to a post.
KV, the closer moniker, right?
I know, we talked about
Our
this.
closers, our fans, right?
Yeah.
We call them the closers because of what Kevin was able to do late in races.
Yeah, now
Keelan is Keelan has a little bit of that. He's got a little bit of that closeness in him.
He's a little modest about it, but that's not surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely wants to win, and has watched that. He's watched enough races that you got to do what you got to do to try to put yourself in position to win. And the good thing is he didn't just run over Kenna. He raced hard and did a cool crossover and leaned on her just enough to make the pass happen. So 3 months ago, we wouldn't have been that close to lean on somebody just enough and not body slam them or leave 7 feet in between the car and expect to make the pass. So he's getting more comfortable with the width of the car and the things like that.
It's a very cool event, obviously. So when can we see the Harvicks next in action? When's
we're gonna race again June 28th at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. So that'll be the next battle. We're gonna move it all around the country. We go from Evergreen. I think we go to Colorado Speedway. I don't know where else. I don't remember.
Listen, a lot of the closers we have a lot of fans up in New England.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm a New England guy, so I got to give them some. They are begging for you guys to come up there. They remember you ran the Oxford 250.
I did.
You won that. He won the Oxford 250. They sold the car, and then magically it was illegal the next time I raced. I don't know anything about that. But
everything I always raced was illegal. So
somehow,
that's always been the case. If there's no way that you can run that fast, so everything's illegal.
Everything's illegal.
So,
but we'd love to see you guys take that show up in New England for sure.
Yeah, really, the Oxford 250 and that late model race changed my fan base in that area.
Really?
Absolutely, 100%. From that point forward, I always had a bigger following in that area and made a lot of great relationships, through that event and carried over to seeing those folks as they would bring their late models to race and run the modifieds and things. You saw the same people year after year after year, but that race is, that's a massive event in the Northeast for late model racing, but it definitely increased my fan base by a bunch competing in that event.
There you have it.
I
like the suggestion. You might be onto something.
Listen,
here,
I love bringing racing back to New England. So
That's
anytime
right.
I can.
That's right.
Let's talk about the Nashville race, though, of course, for the Cup Series. And I'm shocked he's not wearing a Ryan Blaney t-shirt today, because any chance he can pump him up typically occurs.
He definitely doesn't understand what it takes to try to win. So as you see, he's celebrating a second place victory. The rest of us are winners.
No.
My man celebrates second.
Listen, I'm celebrating that my pick came through. Okay,
so
I really I won twice this weekend.
You thought it out, but you didn't think it all the way through.
So I thought it.
No. You are celebrating second. Congratulations on second.
No, I'm celebrating.
But the guy that you support all the time won the race.
Right.
Yeah,
but I'm celebrating that I won on the show my pick because I get drugged so bad. So I picked Hocevar. And I rode the Dente, and we won
the battle.
We won the
Rode
battle,
the Dente.
And my regular guy I pulled for 12, Ryan Blaney, won the war. So I won twice.
Yeah.
I beat you twice in one weekend. Look at that.
Wow.
You didn't.
This
you
is
didn't.
the justification
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
That's what's
You're
happening.
justifying second, but good job. And you're actually in
Two-time
third.
winner,
but
he
we'll get to
says.
that later.
Two-time winner. We'll talk about Carson for sure in just a bit. But Ryan Blaney talked about the fact they've had speed all year, but some misfortunes, but they got to be proud of this victory.
Well, in the end, speed takes care of everything and ultimately makes it easier to work through problems. And they finally did what they could have done 10 times this year. And that was just go out and take charge of the race and beat them bad. And when I did my victory lap interview with Blaney, I asked him straight up, I said, hey, we know his car just turns better than everybody else's. And he said that's always been a trait of his. And he kind of walked through just his ability to just set the car up as loose as you can for the first 5 or 6 laps and be able to manage it.
I heard him say that he thinks you were the same way. Was that true? That you preferred your car like that?
I always wanted my car to turn.
Okay.
Yeah. So and if you can just survive, and he said it, if you can just survive those first 5 or 6 laps on a restart and manage that edginess of the car to be able to keep it turning. And a lot of people always say, man, why are your hands so busy? And that was always just that constant correction, just those little mini corrections of the car to walk the thing through the corner and ultimately be able to drive it looser as the run would go on. That would really pay benefits to you. So, and we see it every week. Every week that Blaney is always better than everybody on the second half of the run. So that is something that all the other guys are going to have to figure out if they're going to compete with that 12 car.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I picked William Byron to win the championship, but at the beginning of the year, I was like, you still got to go through the 12, Team Penske, and the 22, and they're showing it now. We had a little bit of a question, right, with all the things that were happening at Team Penske, pit crew engines, and then the team principals from the IndyCar side kind of getting moved around and all that stuff. Was it going to affect the Cup guys? At one point, they had all 4 cars, I think, running like between 1st and 11th or something like that. So they shut that down. They're not worried about any of that outside noise. They got the speed. They finally were able to close the deal. The pit crew change for the 12 obviously has paid off. Like now they're one of the top pit crews.
22's gotten better.
Yeah, they're getting better. So like sometimes it's those changes that you don't really, because not like they weren't bad before, but the change, it just wasn't consistent, I guess, enough. And it looks like it's all meshing now at the right time. And Ryan, this is one of those times where he was the fastest and they finish it off. A lot of times they're the fastest and they don't quite finish it off and something happens. And now if he can dominate a race and finish it, good luck.
Does it not feel like an instant replay of the last couple seasons?
Yes.
Though?
Yeah.
You see Hendrick and Gibbs start off strong. And then we get to the middle of the season, and I know the 24 ran well this weekend. 5 didn't run well, got an okay finish.
8th.
But when you look at the Gibbs cars, they had a couple of the best cars this weekend, qualified on the pole. All of them had some issues with their brakes. And Denny manages to finish 3rd with no air conditioning, brake problems, all the things that they had going on during the race. But the Hendrick cars, really, it was just William Byron.
Bad qualifying
and it just seems like it's the same trend for the last couple of years. Hendrick and Gibbs start off strong, and then Penske comes on about this time of the year, and then that trails to the end of the year. I
feel like these teams, some of them, or obviously Penske, I think they try more stuff. They have a system. I think whatever they're doing at the beginning of the year, like it'll be fine because when Memorial Day hits, we're going to start taking off and doing what we need to do. And that's why I picked Blaney to win the 600, because typically about 600 time, it's like a light switch. Now everything is a well-oiled machine, and it just looks like that again. And now they have 4 competitive guys running up front, and it's going to be a dogfight for that. Now they all can run for points too, right? Now they can go get those stage points because now they're all locked in on a win. So
that playoff picture is starting to already get very interesting, getting very tight. So I wanted to address your guy here on the Dente shirt, Carson Hocevar, with the runner-up finish, but he's not making a lot of friends right now in the Cup Series garage. Do you see any issue with how Carson races?
Well, he made some more dentes and some back fenders this weekend.
That was the word.
You've been working on that one.
There you go.
That's
Of the week.
funny.
That just came to me.
It just came to me.
Here's the thing about Carson. Carson's fast. Carson is, to me, at this point, it seems like he's able to keep making these mistakes and not let it mentally bother him. Not all people are like that way. When Ross Chastain, we saw everything that happened with Hendrick, and it slowed him down for a while, in my opinion, on his bold moves and things that happened.
Yep.
It has not slowed down Hocevar up until this point. And he's got the speed to be able to back up what he does on the racetrack, and he's got the speed to overcome these types of scenarios, but he's got the mental ability to just let it go. It didn't bother him the rest of the race. It isn't the first time that this has happened this year or last year, and it is going to ruffle some feathers along the way. But most of those instances, those guys, until it's continuously with the guys that race in the top 5, that's when it'll become more difficult, when you start reckoning Denny Hamlin and some of those guys up in the front for the lead. Now, this instance right here was with the 47 car.
Yep.
That stuff will eventually come back to bite you, because you're gonna get wrecked when you get around some of those guys, or they're just gonna squeeze you in the fence or put you in a bad position or block you in the pits. So those scenarios will ultimately hurt him. But right now, his speed and his ability to block out those instances and all the controversy that comes with it seems to be pretty high.
Do you like what you see out of him, or do you think he should proceed with caution?
Can I say both?
Yeah.
I like what I see.
You got to learn from it.
Yeah, I like what I see, because it's a lot easier to slow somebody down than to speed them up. And if you're Aspire Motorsports, right, you need a cornerstone guy. He's your lead dog. And so I think they all believe in him, and I think that they want him to clean up some of that stuff, but they don't want to slow him down at all, because he's now pushing them in the top 5 every week, and it's starting to bring along the 71 and the 7. Like, they're all running better, but you need somebody to be the alpha, and he just doesn't care. And that's fine. You know what I mean? You don't have to care, but it's going to come around, and you got to be okay with that when that happens too. But I wouldn't, if I was a part of that team, I would not want him to slow down or change anything. Keep being aggressive. But, let's try to make sure we're methodical about it.
Yeah, I think that the most important thing is to handle the political side of it off the racetrack, to make sure he's doing that correctly.
Yep.
I think if, handling the scenario with Stenhouse correctly is important, and everybody else. I don't know how he's handled those scenarios up to this point. If I were Spire and I were in the management position, the most important thing is to handle it correctly with the competitors politically. There is a political side of this that, unfortunately it's consistent. So how believable that is with the competitors is a different story. And this garage has a great way of policing itself, and you just hope that it doesn't bite him at the wrong time. And you're in a position to win a race or whatever the scenario is, and it takes those results away. But ultimately, he's going to get the results because he's fast.
Mark Martin once told me, he compared like Ross, when Ross was going through similar stuff, to Ernie Irvan. He said Ernie was so fast, but we had to sit him down and be like, bro, you're just tearing our stuff up. You know what I mean? And I think Carson has a lot of that too. Like, we always compare Carson and Ross. Their demeanors are similar. They're boys off the racetrack. They have a lot of the same management, a lot of the same things together, the niece connection. So you got to make sure that the garage respects you and doesn't, because when they don't, when you lose that respect, it's an issue too.
Yeah, and I don't think he has the respect of the garage right now, personally.
Probably not. The way they talk about him.
Yeah, and they're going to like him less because he's faster than them.
Correct.
And that sometimes is that sometimes in itself, without running over people, pisses people off, because he's taking somebody's spot. He's not going anywhere because he's faster than they are. And his ability to drive the car fast and apparently relate that to his team guys is making those cars faster. So having that cornerstone in a company, like you say, is ultimately important. But companies also look for the fastest guys, and the fastest guys will learn how to manage all of that stuff. Now, the competitors will stir it all up and they'll say he's a hack or whatever it is, but in the end, he's faster than most of you. So,
and it did sound like when Carson was questioned after the race that he does intend to have a conversation with Ricky Stenhouse. So he's obviously open to that. So,
well, he has to. You've got to manage that stuff right, because it's aggravating when they see a guy running over people week after week after week. But like I said, he's faster than everybody, and that in itself is aggravating for the garage, because he's there and he's going to consistently take somebody's seat.
The interesting thing about him, real quick too, is that he's in the sim a lot. Like he's one of the guys for the Chevy sim, and so the relationship with Hendrick, like he is helping the whole Chevy program be better on a consistent basis. So like, sometimes that might give you a little.
Now think about this: the thing that slowed Ross Chastain down the most was when it got into the same family of Chevrolet, Hendrick, and that's when the politics reach that point with Hocevar. That's when you have to deal with it at a different level.
Does matter. For sure.
Yeah, will be interesting to see how this story continues with the Hocevar and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. now 6 below the cut line. And all this is starting to matter because we're entering into the summer stretch as these teams make a push to the playoffs. I want to talk about Kyle Larson for a moment, because he was one of the first drivers we saw have a very early incident. Lap 3, had to pit like 7 times. They were under the hood. They thought they had a loose wheel. They still recovered for a top 10, but an eventful day for them.
Well, this is where the experience, as we watch right here, check up for the 54 and the 38 got in the back of him, sent him up the racetrack all the way to last. But they qualified back there anyway. So they were definitely off this weekend, struggling with the speed of the car. We saw Charlotte last week, got in a hurry, got loose, got in the wall. So definitely a lot of things have piled up over the last week for Larson mentally. And, they're definitely not hitting on all cylinders right here, but the experience of the race team, nobody giving up, driver keeping his head in the game, Cliff Daniels on the radio, methodically working to make the car better, put them in a position to salvage a decent finish out of the day. And that's what championship teams do. Guys that have won championships, that have won a lot of races, have the leadership on the pit box. That's the thing that this team does better than anybody else. They have a really, really good leader calling the shots up there on the pit box, and it keeps everybody calm. There's always, let's do this, let's do that. Good plan, good strategy. Salvage the day.
Cliff Daniels is a leader of men and one of the best ones in sports. He's someone that you want to go to war for, and because he's not afraid to get in the muck with you, right? And ever since they had that issue at the 600, I think it was like 2 years ago, and Kyle spun, and he's like, man, I just suck. And he gave him a pep talk, and they kept bringing him down pit road, kept working on it. And then I think they ended up winning that race. I'm like, it doesn't matter how bad they are at the beginning of the race. They're never going to quit.
No.
And they're going to figure it out. If they have enough time, they're going to figure it out. Yeah. And so I just always expect them to end up in the mix.
And Larson now has that ability to reset in the seat. Yeah. I mean, he can win a race. He can get flipped upside down. He can do all these things. And all of a sudden, he can just turn it off, reset. And that's something that a lot of guys can't do. They'll get frustrated during the race. And next thing you know, they're go from 5th to 25th and don't have that ability to reset. And even if they have that scenario going from 5th to 25th, they don't have the ability to be able to reset and salvage something out of the day from the driver standpoint. So a lot of that comes from the spotter, comes from the crew chief, but you still have to have that ability. And Larson has that ability to just constantly reset and just go back at it like nothing happened.
Driving race cars is such a head game. It's such a head game. Like, you got to be a little crazy anyway to do it.
I believe that.
And you got to have a little bit of a delusional belief in how good you are. Because if you don't think that you're that good to be able to get it done lap after lap the whole time, someone else is just going to blow your doors off.
Yeah,
because they're just going to compromise you.
Well, even when you talk about Blaney, and I told him this, you could tell that he was frustrated. I don't know that I've ever seen Larson get out and think. I mean, I could see that he was frustrated, but I've never heard him get out and just mentally lose his mind or lose his mind on the radio.
Yeah.
I can't think of a moment.
No, not really.
But even with, and I asked, Blaney about the mental side of it and how frustrating it was on his victory lap interview. But you get on there on the radio with Blaney and he loses his mind and gets frustrated.
Vocal,
and he
is.
pops the top, but they always seem to be able to reset. So it's different, how guys can. Sometimes you just got to let them blow off steam inside and just let them go, turn them loose on the radio. And you hope you have a group of guys that can take that, which the 12 group can do that.
Yep.
5 is a different, every one of these guys is a little bit different. And you have to find that mental mixture that makes it right for the voices in their head and what you're okay with on the radio. Because you look at the way that, Ryan Blaney resets compared to the Larson reset. It's two different things, but sometimes you just have to let them yell and scream. But if they can turn it back on when it's time to go again, that's just what you have to do.
Yep.
One other driver who has more of the calm demeanor, who I would say kind of a la Kyle Larson, is Corey Heim, who had an early exit from this race, lap 130. He took ownership for this incident that he had there with Brad Keselowski on Twitter, he said. But what did you see here out of Corey Heim?
Well, the spotter kept telling him outside, and he just made a mistake getting up the racetrack, probably just trying to take everything that he can get and misjudged. So... but those are all the experiences. As much as we've talked about Corey Heim needing to be here already, you still see the rookie mistakes and the inexperience at the Cup level in scenarios like this. So it's these are all things that he's got to go through. And in the end, I truly believe that Corey Heim will be a Cup Series winner. I think once we get 3 to 5 years down the road, I think we'll be talking about Corey Heim winning Cup races. Once they get the right crew chief and team around him and he gets that 100 races under his belt, he already has done better than most guys that step into the car in a short amount of time. But that again, that's not a fair judgment of how he's going to do, because until you're in this grind every single week and have to deal with the sponsors and the media and the criticism at a level that you've never experienced before in trucks and Xfinity, we don't know. It could mentally break him. I don't think it will, based upon what I've seen so far and how he reacts to things. But it's another level on the Cup side as to that pressure and things that go with this, especially when you have a bad race and then you have another bad race and then you have another bad race and then he's not ready for this. How do you deal with that? Can you rebound and not care like Hocevar? He doesn't care. He can deal with the mental side of it as good as maybe other people don't like it, but he's dealt with it pretty good so far. And that's really what you want to see, is how do these guys handle the pressure and the mental side of it.
I obviously interviewed Corey Heim a lot on the Truck Series side, and he does remind me a lot of Kyle Larson and some of his mannerisms, and he's had a lot of disappointments this year, and we haven't seen him lose his mind really at all. I just feel like he kind of is one of those guys that might have that same type of future.
Yeah, he carries himself like a vet.
Very well.
Like he definitely, like in the Truck Series, like the way he has like this swagger and a little bit of this aura to him, to where like he knows that he's a top dog and he knows where he's headed and he's comfortable. He has 122 point lead in the Truck Series right now.
Yeah.
Like
he's just I don't know why he's there.
Where do we see him going? Like, what is the next landing spot for sure for him?
For sure. If I'm a different manufacturer, I am writing the check. If you're not putting him up, if Toyota's not putting him up, I'm writing the check and grabbing him.
Even if you don't have a charter, I think it's, if you're 2311, just to keep him in the mix, right? Like I wouldn't want to let that go.
No.
I think that I would figure it out, but he needs to start getting. He doesn't need to race that Cup car or the truck.
He's a 25th position driver right now in Cup at worst.
Sure.
25th right now.
Yeah, and I think, he did better than that the last race that he ran. You know, I
Right.
think he finished
13th.
13th.
And the
Yeah.
one time at Legacy, he drove that thing up to 20th at one point at Dover.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because, we've always seen the typical trajectory as trucks Xfinity Cup, but he kind of nixed the whole Xfinity for now, at least
I
not
think
racing.
that's changing.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
is
different now, right?
changing.
Because definitely with the car being different and the way the business models are, like it's got to be right. Like the timing of things have to be really right.
Yeah, I think
now.
it's just I think it's purely just getting enough experience to be able to have the amount of races that you need behind the wheel in order to get that just as many looks at it as possible before you get to the Cup Series. I'm not sure that it really matters anymore what series that it's in, truck or Xfinity, with the Cup cars being slower, even though we hear some chatter.
The Dun Committee's been making some moves here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Dun Committee.
Let's think about the Dun Committee for
Think
a second.
about Dun Committee.
I think people are listening.
As we go through this whole scenario about moving this race around, championship race, we could have been like 8 years ahead. If Dun Committee would have been in charge, we could have been moving this race around and had this all situated by now. But Dun Committee has some good ideas.
It does.
Making some moves here.
I know. Every time I see some development, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
done.
Been there, done that. Literally. that's the Dun Committee's
Bringing up
Dun
some
Committee's
valid points.
slogan is been there, done that.
Been there, done
I like that. We
Yeah.
just came up with a new slogan for it. Very good.
Yeah. We're gonna have to have T-shirts made.
I agree. Someone did ask me again about happy hour merch, and I'm like, man, we do need to figure.
We don't even have the mugs anymore with the stickers on.
Happy hour shirts.
No, we need
That could be
happy hour
that
shirts.
could be our slogan. Been there, done that.
Been there,
Been
done
there,
We'll
done that.
capitalize done.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And then on
Yes.
But DUN.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler, get on it. Our producer.
We could been there, done that with a done and then committee below it. Yeah.
Tyler says he's on it.
Yeah, done
just now,
committee.
So
Just
there
a
you
bunch
have
of
it.
random people.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Nashville, guys. Let's move on to Michigan. That's
Okay.
the next racetrack we're headed to. Kevin, you were very successful there, 6-time winner, and a lot of them in the recent visits you had to,
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
track.
It was definitely a racetrack that. How many times did I win there? 6 times.
You're tied for the most wins there.
That's good. Those are good numbers.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. You're
Yeah,
right.
It's for whatever reason at the end of my RCR tenure, we won in the 29 car there, and when I went to Stewart Haas, that just continued. We should have won a lot more than 6, but 6 is still okay.
Quite okay.
Yeah, and had some pretty cool moments with Keelan and Piper there.
Yeah.
Being able to take the kids on a victory lap to victory lane, so they remember those things. There's not a lot that Piper remembers, but she remembers riding in that car. She asked me this weekend if she could ride in the late model,
Really?
with Keelan to back to the pits, and those things just get so freaking hot.
The
You can't even touch the
floorboard
shifter
is
if you don't
tough.
have your gloves on. You can't touch the shifter.
yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think so.
Not-
So
not this one.
she definitely remembers. You heard, you've heard Keelan talk about those memories. So, but we know when we go to Michigan that's usually when you see the best motors. You see everything from the manufacturers because they want to win that award for being the top manufacturer at Michigan. There's a lot of pride
The Heritage Trophy.
that goes into that Heritage Trophy and being able to take that back to their facility. Ford's had it for a while.
A lot.
Yeah. And so the Michigan track really fits the Ford power band and the things that happen with that car. Their car, in my opinion, is a little bit tighter in traffic than most of those cars, except for Blaney's. But we know that he can drive it looser than everybody else. So it's definitely a high speed racetrack, and you have to be willing to be able to stand on the gas like you need to go fast there. But it's also one of those places where you got to be edgy to go fast. So it's Ford's to lose.
You got to risk it for the biscuit. Did you guys know?
Oh, we have trivia?
Yeah.
Trivia.
Do you know the last time a Hendrick car went to victory lane? A Hendrick team went to victory lane at Michigan?
Probably been a
I
while.
just looked at these numbers. He was a bunch of the recent ones.
Yeah. So the last time a Hendrick driver went to victory lane was like Larson in like 16, but he wasn't driving for Hendrick.
No,
He was driving for Ganassi. The last time Team Hendrick went to victory lane was like 2014 with Jeff. Or JG.
Okay, well now I'm second guessing my pick.
It's been a minute, and last year's winner was Reddick. Like the Fords have they
chokehold on it.
They love Ford. It means so much to Ford, and I think that's part of the reason why Roush and RFK for the longest time dominated this race for a long time with Biffle and Kenseth and all them boys.
Yeah, and I think that was for different reasons. Yeah. I think they had a lot of power. Doug Yates and his team put a lot of emphasis on going to Michigan. I think that was part of the RFK Roush, but I think that the other piece was they also made a lot of downforce. I think with this car, the Ford seems to have a little bit less drag. It's a little bit tighter balance than the other cars, and the power band of the Ford with where you run the RPM fits the Ford engine very well. It's like they designed everything around Michigan. and you know, I think it's but seeing Doug Yates and the emphasis that he puts on this race and Ford that they put on this race, it's just where as a team, you know, you bring your best car. You got to make good decisions from a drag downforce standpoint as to what's on that car. But everything else fits the track.
We will have to see if the trends continue this weekend out there in Michigan. We're all going to be there. Well, actually, you're not.
I'm not.
No, we'll be there.
I'll be there. You'll be there.
All right, Mamba, it is time now for your social sips, my friend.
Sippy sip.
A little spicy.
Can you fit any more sips after Nashville?
Good thing I got the water this week because the beast had me unleashed on Broadway.
Oh, boy.
Over the weekend. It was a great time. But welcome to your favorite segment, America, Mamba's Social Sips.
Debatable.
And we are starting in the IndyCar. So Willpower is one of the more larger personalities in motorsports. So in practice, he got up behind Kirkwood here and just kind of used a chrome horn and just kind of pushed him through a couple corners and then let him down. And it actually broke, I guess, the gearbox on that car. But Kirkwood ended up winning the race this weekend. So that was cool for him. But
was Willpower frustrated that he was in the racing line trying to make some laps, or was it?
I'm not 100. They did speak after, and they were cool, and they were laughing about it and whatever. But like a lot of social media was calling for a penalty, really calling for Will's head. They're like, he needs to get a penalty, and then obviously he's driving for Penske, and other things that they've been going through. So like they were really coming after him, but. I'm like, that just looks like some NASCAR stuff to me. No big deal.
Yeah, maybe we should make the nose cones tougher so that we can use them as bumpers.
They were using a lot of bumpers in the IndyCar race this past weekend.
Yeah.
They were doing that. So I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty funny. IndyCar, they got a lot going on Fox, so it's always good to bring them.
They got a lot going on everywhere currently.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're going to stay in the IndyCar realm a little bit, but bring it back to Charlotte. The summer shootout is firing off here soon.
Yeah.
Scotty McLaughlin is going to come race. SVG is racing as well. Bubba Wallace, Keelan Harvick. I'm trying to get Kevin Harvick out here. We'll see how that works. But so they are Team SSR.
What does that mean?
Has something to do with sheep.
I saw the logo, and I was very curious what the...
Yeah, the logo's pretty cool.
Well, they're on the same team as Keelan, so Joe Ryan is handling all their cars, and I've watched these cars be built. But... they're all racing in the same class. So Keelan is racing in the same class as Bubba, Shane, and Scott. Wow. So that'll be a pretty entertaining summer shootout in the pro division. I've heard rumblings that Kyle Busch is going to show up.
Okay,
but I don't know if that's true.
I love this though. These big names.
That's great for legend cars and summer shootout and everything that happens on a Tuesday night. So I watched some videos that they sent me from their practice session the other night. Highly entertaining.
It's gonna be fun to watch. Bubba does a YouTube series with it, so I'm sure I'll be a part of it, and it's fun. And we got Millbridge for the dirt, so it's really important that we have something for the asphalt guys too midweek.
Sounds like we should do a happy hour on location at Summer Shootout and get these guys on the show.
That would be kind of cool.
That'd be fun.
A live.
Kevin,
I did get one text that said, "I cannot freaking believe how good SVG is."
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
You can't say who it was from.
No,
he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. Hey, you know what else is good? We got voicemail.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't
got a
wait
voicemail.
for this.
Let's run the tape.
Question is, over your Cup career, what was the hardest car to transition to, other than the next gen? Take that out. But what was the hardest car to transition to, and why?
That stupid ass 550 package.
What year was that?
I don't even know, but it was the dumbest ass racing that I ever did in my life.
Oh boy.
Everybody wanted to be packed up, closer together, no horsepower, and we all rode around there in a pack. I mean, the first few were entertaining to watch, but it was the dumbest ass racing ever.
I love the honesty.
It was so stupid.
When we ran that earlier for him, I saw his face. He was like,
knew
"No, I know
immediately.
exactly what I did not like."
We went from a lot of horsepower to 550, and it was dumb. We still won a lot of those races, but
He doesn't even like that he won those races.
I don't. No, we went from
Leave that in the past.
Yeah, we had there was a lot of throttle time.
There's a lot of throttle time.
We would go places, and 550, awful.
All right.
Don't do it again.
Yeah.
All right. We have a voicemail. We're also going to dive off into the mailbag today.
Oh, we got a mailbag.
Yeah, mailbag.
I love this one.
So-
this is funny.
This is from Tara in Dallas, Texas. Did Kevin have LASIK eye surgery, or did his glasses break, or did he decide to start wearing contacts? Inquiring minds want to know, Kev.
Yes.
We have noticed over the last couple of weeks you don't have the glasses anymore.
I don't even understand why people even worry about it. But I took my glasses off because they have this huge reflection on the camera, and I got tired of having just to lug my glasses around, so I went and got contacts.
There you go. The first time you've had contacts?
It is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was it hard to put them in?
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle
I mean, I
with
look
that
like
at
I have
first.
12 thumbs, but
I've tried. I can't put them in my
I've
eyes.
worn
oh
them.
really? I've got all the
can't do it.
tips if you
Yeah,
want to figure
so
it
do
out.
I.
Maybe we might need to go over that one day.
Yeah.
I've worn them since
No,
like
I've already
fifth
had
grade.
LASIK. I had LASIK in 2000 because my vision was 20/70.
Oh wow.
And so I went and had LASIK, and I can't have it again because I'm
keep
maxed
changing.
out. Yeah.
Oh.
So when you were
So this last time I went to the eye doctor, I went from nearsighted to farsighted. So it's been a big change for my eyes. And now my contacts are great everywhere outside of here.
which is
So
that why
now
you be
I
flipping
went
through a lot?
I went from nearsighted to farsighted. And it's been an adjustment. But I was tired of getting prescription sunglasses and having to worry about where my sunglasses are and where my glasses were. So I just put the contacts in. Now it is a little bit different with my eyes. They get dry,
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
that's the worst part of having
but
contacts.
it's still I can get the contacts in and out pretty good now.
Don't ever sleep.
But
in
yeah,
them.
thanks for caring, people.
Thank you, Tara.
The closers are worried about your eyesight. We
Yeah.
want to make sure you can see so you can keep racing.
My
their models.
eyesight's always been bad.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I manage it. I wore the glasses in the car. I did
Yeah.
try.
See that?
I take this back. I did try contacts one time in the car. So over the off season, I got the contacts. I forgot about this. And so I got the.
Everybody gets excited about a story.
I said, well, my eyesight sucks, and I need to do something about it. So I got the contacts. I got them in my eyes, and I go out to practice at shootout practice at Daytona. I go out on the racetrack, and we make the first run, and everything's great. And I come into pit road. I guess it's the first time that I blinked. Both contacts folded in half, fell out.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Yeah, because while you're driving, you don't even think about blinking, and you keep your eyes open the whole time, and they fell out. So that was the only. I forgot I had those contacts in there.
That's awful.
That's why That's why I had the glasses in the car.
Yeah, yeah.
I one time knocked my case into the sink and they went down the drain. And
no.
it was in Daytona also. And I had to do TV and I was completely blind during this whole show.
Yeah.
Like,
In my backpack, I have 2 spare sets of glasses. I have about 20 sets of contacts. I'm super
You're
paranoid because I would
prepared,
be in big trouble without them.
Yeah.
And when I switched to trying the contacts, I switched to the glasses, but it helped me so much. I had no idea how blind I was.
Because
he can see.
Me
Yeah.
so much.
But I could see the cracks in the ground again. I could see everything
whole new
was just,
world.
it was a whole new world. So about the last 7 or 8 years or however long I had those things on,
There you go.
it was way better. I would get headaches because as I would get to the end of the
Your
race,
eyes
it
are
was so
straining.
hard.
Yeah.
And you're straining so bad. I was way more comfortable with my glasses. Being able to see, it was way better on my eyes.
I'm glad you got that figured out.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, you know, take care of that.
You didn't know it was leading to that, did you?
I did.
This
That's
is
the
why
best thing about the
mailbag's
closing.
You never
fun,
know.
I think.
You never know where it's going to go. Make sure if you want to leave a voicemail, 805-317-4175. And obviously email us if you have a mailbag question, harvickhappyhour4@gmail.com.
All right, guys, we got to kind of breeze through this last call here.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, new customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. NASCAR is not responsible for this promotion and used under license.
But before we get into our picks for this week, let's take a look at the best bet of the weekend, courtesy
Plus
of Draft.
750, Blaney.
I can't even get it. Go ahead.
No, plus 750 was Blaney last week. So you could have made some money off of DraftKings. So take the checkered flag with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Harvick. That's code Harvick for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet just $5, only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
It's a
Yes,
crown. There you
crown.
go.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Let's take a look, guys, now at the
Trump
Blaney
dance.
burnout, which this is a new thing because he characteristically does not do
is
these. But
out of character.
what'd you say, Kevin, on this?
I'm not even going to grade it. He graded it himself. He said it wasn't very good, but the crowd liked it.
Fair.
And he didn't care.
That's cool. I love that.
So why do I need to grade it?
Right, we don't need to because he graded it for
he
himself.
graded it himself.
The cool thing he does is the checkered flag to the fan. That's
Yeah.
his signature.
No, that's been his
item.
thing for a while. I remember
She was
when
like
he
in
started.
Blaney's
tears.
got a lot of swag, man. He's got a lot of swagger.
Yeah,
Yep.
aura.
He has that just cool dude, laid back.
He's the right
Likeable
guy.
guy.
He was the right guy to win in Nashville. Like that
Yeah.
really fits his brand.
Yeah, did you
Yeah.
see him smoking that big cigar in Victory Lane?
dude.
Like,
That's
it's
my-
awesome.
that's
I
my
know
dog.
he's won a championship, but if he gets to the point where he can win 5, 6, 7 races
Yes.
on certain years, he can become, he's already popular, but he can become one of those mega stars in our sport up there with Larson if he can ever get to that point of being that dominant.
Yeah.
Well, his next opportunity for a win is this weekend in Michigan.
Yeah.
Time to go ahead and make our picks.
Hang on. Before the picks, I got a
Whoa.
little bonus.
Oh, you
I got a
do.
little bonus
You do.
because Ryan doesn't do burnout, so we were a little nervous. Look at
This
Raja.
one.
How about
That's
my boy
right.
Raja winning this weekend?
I love
And he
this.
sent it. Now,
did.
watch this video a little bit. You see this truck that's about to pull it right? I think he's like, oh, shit.
That would have been bad.
That would have been
big.
real bad.
Yeah, so shout out to Raj.
He mastered it there, though. Good.
I
on
love him just going for it, though.
Yeah.
That's like Joey used to do those too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just down the whole straightaway.
Yeah. Nicely done, Raja. Good on the
Well
burnout.
done.
Great win. Second
Yeah.
career win from the Truck Series. All right, guys. Let's give our choices to win in Michigan. Our picks. Kevin's still leading the charge, of course. Increasing.
Yeah, I believe I've doubled your scores, but
You have.
You've doubled mine.
I think I definitely doubled last place. Dente over
Here
here.
it is.
yeah, but
67.
I'm getting closer out of the basement.
Yeah. You didn't get much. You didn't really gain much, though. You're still
You're right.
you're still way behind.
The best thing is we're gonna reset this for the playoffs, so it's fine.
Oh, we are.
yeah.
That
All right.
sucks.
No, because we're gonna add the fans. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Well, if you want to add the fans,
Yeah, I want to
that'd
add the fans. That's right.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
good.
I like that.
So you going first?
No, you won, so
Oh.
you got to go first.
So I go first.
I know I go first all the time because I win mostly. Yeah.
Shut up, Kevin.
All right.
All right. I'm going with, I talked about him a little bit earlier, RFK. I really want to go with Carson because it's a home track for him, but I'm going to go RFK. I'm going to go Ryan Preece.
I like that.
I'm going Ryan Preece. They seem to have some like real like big smoke speed at some of these mile and a halves, and they've been kind of knocking on the door for some
Yeah.
better finishes than what they've got. So I'm going Preece. Let's go.
Well, I was going with William Byron because he had a decent showing there last race. But after you shared the Hendrick stats, I'm like, maybe that wasn't my wisest
someone's
choice.
gotta
But we'll
broke
see
it.
here.
You're going with Willie B?
Is that who you're going with?
Yeah.
Well, I like that you stuck with it. You didn't just change course.
Just
Yeah.
because
Like
they
you would.
don't win doesn't mean they don't run well. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean? Just
This
'cause
is
they-
true.
Yeah.
I could still pick up points.
Yeah.
Kevin.
I'm going to take Logano.
Okay. I like it.
I don't think you're going to beat the Fords this weekend. I think you're going to have a Ford. So I like his experience.
We will have to see how all of these picks fare out in Michigan. Okay, again, reminder, our Thursday episode is with Keelan Harvick. We can't wait to hear that full conversation with all of us. And that does it for another edition of Happy Hour. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave 5 stars, leave a review, and we'll see all of you after Michigan.
See you, closers.